Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Bella Vista. It's time again for the Mayor's Wrap. As always, I have with me today Mayor Peter Christie. Good morning.
Good to see you again.
You too.
Thank you.
I always enjoy this because it's a way for not only me to catch up with what's going on in the city, but also for us to share it with Bella Vista. Yet
agree.
another way, right?
That's very, very true.
Yes. So, got an election going on.
We do?
So let's talk about issue one.
Yeah, we've talked about issue one before. It is a half-cent sales tax that the governor wishes to make permanent, and it is to be used exclusively for state highways, city streets, and county roads. It's currently in place now. It was voted in by the taxpayers in 2012 for 10 years, and the governor doesn't want to wait until it expires. He wants to just tackle the issue now. How does it affect Bella Vista? We annually see over $600,000 from this tax, and it pays for half of our resurfacing budget of $1.2 million. As I have said many times on this program, we have 550 miles of streets, which is more than the city of Little Rock, and we need to be able to stay on top of our streets and keep resurfacing, especially as our population is continuing to grow. You know, you can have the most fabulous house in the world and you're trying to sell it and your street looks awful, you're not going to get the price that you're asking for. And so it is so very, very important that everybody say, yes, let's move forward. It'll secure our funding going forward, and we can continue to work on, we do roughly between 36 and 40 miles every year. And it doesn't seem like much, but if we do it correctly and with the right material, then the road will last a long time. You may remember when I first came into office in 2015, I said we're no longer using chip and seal. Chip and seal, frankly, is just a disaster. And you go back to the same road year after year after year to try and fix it, especially if the snowplows have been out. So we use slurry and we use asphalt. So please, when you're in the booth and you see issue one, please say yes. Absolutely.
I like to go over things a couple of times because there's always somebody new listening to your show. So could you talk a little bit again, remind us about streets that are not yet on the ready to be, okay, so you've got a circle.
Right.
And it's not finished.
Right.
Tell us about when and how that happens.
So we have a lot of unimproved streets.
Yes.
And as the population is growing and the builders are coming in and buying lots and erecting homes, the standard question is, well, I always want to have my street paved. Well, if we did it in every single circumstance, we wouldn't have a penny left to do any resurfacing because there are so many of them. So you'll find somebody who will buy a house either right at the end of the circle, or if it's a straight in and out road, it could be a quarter mile, and they're going to build right on the end. Well, we just can't afford to improve the road all the way down to the end for one person. So we have developed a policy which states that we will improve the road from the last improved surface, which is usually the crossroad. And we will go in 2 lots or 150 feet, whichever is greater. If there's POA common land on the corners, and often that's the case, we do not include that in the actual measurement. So we take it from the edge of the POA land down into the street. And then as more homes are being built on the street, then we'll come back and we'll keep doing it that way. It frankly would just be too expensive for us to be able to do that.
But it is possible to do if somebody moves in and there are rules about it. And
correct.
If they're concerned, they need to contact you and you can talk to them about that.
Right, or they can talk to the street department, or they can talk to
right.
CDS, which is the Community Development Services.
Correct,
right.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so I tell you what, that bond, I am so excited. You guys are already ready to go.
We are. In fact, we've already started. The bond is now closed. It officially closed earlier this month. It took all of 5 minutes on a huge conference call to close it. It was quite something to behold. Anyway, So the money is now in our trustees bank, which is U.S. Bank. As I mentioned before, the money does not come to us. And we did pass a resolution, gosh, I think back in May, on the advice of our bond attorney, who said, let's put a resolution on the table saying it's okay if you want to spend some of the money before it has been transferred and sold and everything else, so that you're not holding up the project. So we've done that. We've spent about $300,000, and we're now in the process of getting that money back to the city as a reimbursement from the bond. Where we stand with all three projects is, of course, the biggest is the public safety for the police and the court. That's $18 million. And the footprint has now been secured. I believe they now have a good feel as to what the building is going to look like. There was a hope originally to put a basement in. That was just going to be too expensive because of all the rock we have here.
Right.
So they've gone through all those machinations, and I think they're now drawing up the final plans. There won't have to be a great deal of grading and erosion control. That was done when we first bought the land a long time ago. If you've been here long enough, you may remember there was a chicken house on there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and so they cleared it, and they cleared the brush away and left some of the trees. If you look at the land, however, for Fire Station number 3 on Glasgow, on the corner of Edinburgh, it's going to take quite a bit of clearing. And so the erosion control permit and the grading has been approved by the Planning Commission, and that has now been issued, that permit's been issued. So within the next 10 days, we're going to see clearing start. We're not going to clear all the trees.
Thank you.
We are going to leave as much as we possibly can, and that'll also help on the control burn that we're going to have to do as well out there for the brush. The training tower is a bit of a conundrum at the moment. The land that we had thought we were going to use from the POA didn't pan out. It was going to cost us $700,000 to fix the drainage.
Oh.
So we declined on purchasing the land. We're now looking for other land inside the city. We have a couple of lots that we're in discussion with the owners right now, and I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to come to a conclusion. That's probably the easiest of all three to build. The most complex is the police structure, followed by the fire. If all goes well and we get a good, light, warm or warmish winter, we should have that fire station up and running by maybe June or July of next year. Really? If all works well.
Yes.
The police station won't be up and operational until sometime in 2022. It's going to take quite some time.
But I noticed, I think, that a light and a walkway is already kind of in front of where that's going to be?
Yeah, that's called a hawk crossing. It's similar to the one that we have on Dartmoor down by Cooper Elementary, and it's for the trails, because those trails have already been built. That's the new Central Region trails, and they go behind the Boys and Girls Club all back there, and then they need to cross over 279 or Forest Hills Boulevard and keep going to the east. And so they put a hawk crossing there as well.
I thought it was for the police station.
No.
Okay, well, they need to slow down going by there anyway.
That's
so
true.
There you go. That works just really well.
It does.
Oh, all of this is so exciting. I'm so glad to know you're not going to take out all the trees, because
No.
we are a tree city anyway.
We are.
We care about things like that.
And we even give away trees so that you can plant more.
True, and that's coming up. We might mention that later.
Yes.
Or mention it now if you want.
I'm just trying to remember the date.
29th, isn't it?
It's the 29th, I believe, at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Something like
It'll
that.
be in the parking lot
Right.
of Community Development Services. The Walton Family Foundation, who has been very generous to Bella Vista over the years, every year they give us 100 trees. But they're not oak. They're other types of trees, everything from crepe myrtle to, gosh, I can't remember all of them. And it's on a first-come, first-served basis. Some people think it's like bringing coal to Newcastle, but it's a different type of tree. They have also given us trees over the years to put along the back 40 as well for erosion control. So, yeah, that's very exciting, and it's It's always very well attended. Those trees are gone usually within 15 to 20 minutes.
Oh, I know. It's crazy. It really is. Okay, so let's now talk about the bridge, the ARDOT bridge improvements on Lancashire.
Yeah. So the two bridges in question is the one right beside City Hall, which goes over Little Sugar. And the second bridge is around that very sharp bend is the Tanyard Creek Bridge. Both are in sore need of repairs. They're not going to replace the bridges, but they're going to do an awful lot of work on them and include a sidewalk on the south side that will actually go along the bridge that goes over Little Creek, and it'll continue all the way around that bend.
Oh.
And up to the Tanyard Creek Bridge or up to Chelsea, one of the two. And then on the other side, on each bridge, they're now going to put a bike and walking trail as part of the Razorback Greenway. The Greenway doesn't come up here yet. They're still working on the design. But since ARDOT wanted to do all this work on the bridges, we approached the Walton Family Foundation and asked if they would be willing to help us out on the cost of putting in these trails. And they said yes. So they gave $600,000 to the city and to Trailblazers. We got $430,000, and the remainder went to Trailblazers because they're going to build a tunnel underneath 340 as well, up by the Tanyard Creek area.
Great.
Well, 2 years have passed, and they finally went out to bid. This is ARDOT. And it came back, and the price had gone up by $184,000. So we sat down with the Walton Family Foundation and ARDOT, and the foundation said, look, put another grant request in. And we did that, and they approved it. And when last Monday, we had a special city council meeting.
Yes.
And council approved accepting the foundation's grant, and then, of course, having to amend the 2020 budget to put it in.
Gotcha.
So we're all set to go. I spoke to the contractor last night. It's the same contractor that's working on the Ballot bypass. I'm trying to remember the name.
SAP and...
Emery Sapp.
Yes.
And so they've been awarded this contract. They're chomping at the bit. They want to get going. So I suspect it'll start within the coming weeks. It'll take between 15 and 18 months. It depends on the weather for full completion. So it's not just an overnight thing. It's going to be there for a while. You know, the traffic on 340 is about 7,500 cars a day. So people are going to have patience, the same as they had patience when we put in the tunnels further up. But it'll strengthen the bridges, it'll strengthen the infrastructure, and it'll get us ready for the Razorback Greenway.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a quick break
Sure.
Because we've got a lot of other really cool things to talk about.
We do.
We'll see you in a few minutes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2020 Cooper Communities Classic Golf Tournament. It belongs to the charities. One of the reasons we do this is to support the local charities in the area. We have all kinds of pros learning to be even more than they are from all over the United States. And this year, they've added an extra dimension, and that is that they're bringing women.
The golf tournament is very exciting because this year we have both the women and the men here. This is the first year for that. The actual tournament for the APT players starts on Wednesday. And the women will be at Scottsdale and the men at Country Club. And then once they have the cut, everybody will be at the Country Club.
I've been golfing for about 25 years.
And I've been golfing for about 10 or 12 years, seriously.
The best here at this event is Probably watching the professionals and just picking up the little things that they do and the way they go about their business. And all of them that I've ever played with before have fantastic personalities, and it's just a joy and a blessing to be around them.
The host for the event, the Bella Vista Property Owners Association, provided the venue for the tournament and the Lake Point Restaurant and Convention Center for the Pro-Am party and silent auction.
The tournament is a great event because it gives us the opportunity to bring in very talented people to play on our golf courses. So it's great for us to show off our facilities and our golf courses.
The largest sponsor, of course, is Cooper Communities, and we so appreciate that. In addition to that, it's the Bella Vista Foundation that actually puts this on every year. They are the ones that really take good care of the charities and make sure that the charities are getting the benefit from this. So all the funds that are raised, after cost of course, are divided up among the charities that they've selected that year. And this year we have 5. The Bella Vista Boys and Girls Club, the Courtesy Van, the Animal Shelter, Bella Vista Community Television Station, and the Rotary Club.
The silent auction basically was invented for profits to local organizations. So every year we as the board will designate 5 charities, and so then the 5 charities get to split the dollars we make, and each of the 5 charities find donations and teams to play in the event. But then we will split all the proceeds with the profit with the charities, which is great. And every year it's going to be different charities.
So the auction is usually held on the first day of the event, on the Monday before everything happens, and we just get some of the most exciting silent auction items. I think this year we had everything from large baskets of all kinds of wine and spirits, also a grill, and that cool little miniature BMW car that they auctioned off. We really appreciate everybody that contributes to the silent auction.
The Bella Vista Foundation would like to thank the APT Tour for putting on a first-class event, Discover Bella Vista for sponsoring the Pro-Am tournament, and Mercy Medical and Kutak Law Firm as presenting sponsors for the 2020 tournament.
We thank you so much for joining us this year. Please come out and support us next year. And here's how you can do that. You can house a pro, have them stay with you. You can sign up and actually play with a pro. And you can just enjoy watching. You can stand back and be part of the crowd and just make sure that all of our charities are supported by coming to the silent auction and being part of this great event. Thank you so much. Hope to see you next year. Hi there, welcome back. We are here today with Mayor Christie, and we are continuing our discussion on all the things that are happening in Bella Vista right now. You know what, I noticed the other day that Sunset Road is open?
No, it's not
No?
open yet. The contractor, architects have finally come to an agreement, and in concert with our engineers have put together a design so that that wall won't collapse anymore. I think we've talked about it before in the show, but just to recap, the building itself is sort of the anchor at the bottom of the cliff.
Right.
And then they had to put in backfill, which is all gravel, and tamp it down. So that's been completed. And then they had to build a second retaining wall. And what they used was huge, huge chunks of concrete, slabs, that had little domes on them. And underneath the concrete, there were domes going the other way, so convex and concave, and they would fit on top of each other like building blocks. So they put about 3 rows of those all the way across. And then they're going to backfill now up to the edge of the road. After the POA runs the water line in, and then they have to test the water line, and we hope that'll be done by the end of October.
Okay.
Then they'll fill in the water line, and then they'll start working on the road. And I'm hoping it's going to be finished by the end of the year. So it's been a long, long, drawn-out process, but it was not a taxpayer problem.
Right.
I was not going to have taxpayers pay for it. And they still owe us a $100,000 bond for 2 years. After all that's done, then we'll give Dr. Hull her certificate of occupancy. And I'm telling you, she must have the patience of Job.
I think she's had a rough year, and this didn't help.
No, I
Yeah.
entirely agree.
So I guess when I drove by there, they probably just had the barriers down because they were working
That's
on
right,
it.
yeah.
Yes.
So they were moving material up there. So they move them apart during the day, and then at night they close them back again.
That building almost looks like a cave, like it's built back into the...
It is, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Wow.
It's quite a structure,
Yeah.
quite a structure.
So it's on Sunset and 71 for those that don't know, or
Correct.
Bella Vista Way.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, now we get to something that I'm really excited about. You know, I recently visited the library.
Yes.
And saw the new edition. Wow. It was
Yeah.
good before. Now it's going to be even better.
It's,
So let's talk about the update on the library and where we stand.
for the most part, the construction is finished. It's now some interior work has to be done. Power blinds in the community rooms still have to be purchased and installed. The children's area is all set up and ready to go, and the meeting rooms are ready to go. There are also some big reading rooms, and then there are some, I think there are 2 small study rooms as well, and they're finished. But the one thing, we needed was furniture.
Right.
And so we went to bid in the spring, and the bids came in, and the one that we selected was about a little over $100,000, if I remember correctly. And that was fine. And then COVID hit, and we had to shut down, and I froze all capital spending and any kind of operating expenditures that might have been just a little frivolous, like travel, because we didn't know what was going to happen with the sales tax. Didn't have a clue.
Right.
And as it turned out, and I'll talk about it later, we're okay. And so I took the freeze off around July. And then we had to go back to bid. And we had 3 bids come in, and we selected the same supplier again, and he actually came in a few $1,000s cheaper,
Oh.
which was great. And so again, at the council meeting on Monday night, council approved the expenditure, and so the order will be placed within the next 2 weeks. Director Adams is now going through all the samples for type of fabric and colors, etc., and then we're away to the races. But in the meantime, with COVID, we were offering, if you remember, drive-through service, so you could order a book ahead of time, and we would put it outside on tables, and it would have your name on it, so you could pick it up, and after you're finished, just put it in the box. We took advantage of being closed and completely rearranged the interior. So a lot of the stacks have been moved, so that when you now walk in the front door, you don't see stacks sitting right in front of you and the new additions on the back. It's been cleared out, so you can now see all the way through, right through that glorious back window.
Oh, I know.
And it's just amazing to see it.
I'm hoping you're putting some big comfy chairs
Yes.
there where you can look out to the woods and
Yes,
read.
part of the furniture requirement are nice, big, comfy chairs.
yeah.
Then we also took advantage, and we had all the carpets cleaned and sanitized. And now we have a plan in place to rearrange the furniture in the front end on the checkout, because we can't quite keep these, the social distancing in check. And we have applied for a grant from the state, and we're waiting to hear whether or not that's been approved. If so, then we'll go ahead and do it, because that's a few $1,000s to get everything changed there. But we are still going to open on the 26th,
Okay. Why is that magical date? Just because?
just because.
Okay.
By then, we knew the carpets would be done and everything else, and we issued a press release yesterday about it. And if I may, I'll just go through it. So if you've got a piece of paper and a pen, you might want to write this down. So the doors are going to open on Monday, October 26th, and the new hours will be Monday through Thursday, 9 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. Then they'll close for an hour to clean, open again at 2 and close at 4. And it'll be closed on Friday and Sunday, or through to Sunday, excuse me, including Saturday. So the service that we're going to provide is, we're calling it grab and go, because we're only going to allow so many patrons inside at any one time. So on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 20 patrons will be allowed at one time. And on Tuesdays, they're for those of us that are considered high risk, age, or there's an underlying ailment. They will be asked to come inside, but we're going to limit to 5 at a time. Mm-hmm. All patrons have to wear a mask or a face shield. All food and drink must be discarded before entering. And ADH, which is the Arkansas Department of Health, has recommended social distancing guidelines of 6 feet. There will be 2 public computers for use with a time limit of 1 hour per patron. And you can also go on the website to see this, which is bvpl.org. And the library phone number, if you want to contact them, is 479-855-1753. So we're finally going to open for business. When you go in, make sure you go into the new edition and look at it. It is absolutely gorgeous, and the view is spectacular out the huge back windows.
And I think any season it's going to be spectacular.
I agree.
You know what was kind of new that I didn't know about, which I think is really great, as you walk in and to the left, there's kind of a bookstore. Can't you buy those books?
Yes, that used to be located in a different part of the library. It wasn't as visible. You walked into the left and it was over on the far left. Mm-hmm. Now it's going to be, as you say, as soon as you walk in, it's a hard left, and you can buy the books. It's operated by Friends of the Library, and they very graciously donate the funds for the betterment of the library. Mm-hmm. And so when you buy a book, it's not going elsewhere. The money stays right there, and these wonderful volunteers just open up, and when the books come in and they get sorted, the library determines which ones they want to put on the shelves, and everything else goes to Friends of the Library.
Fabulous.
So it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh, yeah, that place is, seriously, Bella Vista, you've got to go look at it. Be careful. I like the kind of the new entrance. It really isn't the entrance, but that corridor off to the right.
Yes.
It's beautiful. And you're putting art or something up there.
Yeah, some
Sculpture.
volunteers are putting some wonderful flowers up there. This is to the right.
Yes.
It's a walkway that goes to a door that leads directly into the addition as opposed to going through the existing one. You may remember the foundation, which was responsible for the build, and they did a great job, was trying to raise money, and you could buy a brick for $150 mm-hmm. and put your name or a memory stone or whatever on it. And so they're now putting those in the ground along that walkway. And it's going to be really, really pretty when they're finished.
Yes, yes. We have such great things here in Bella Vista.
Oh, we're very, very blessed to be here.
We are. We are. Speaking of blessed, really quickly, I took part in a project the other day that when I saw the word ARDOT this morning, I'm like, oh, let's talk about Tim and what he does for Positively Bella Vista, but it's more than that. It's for, talk to us about
Tim
that.
Pacher and Chris Taylor started up Positively Bella Vista. Great group of people. They will help anybody who needs help. For example, if someone's living alone and they're elderly and they can't mow their lawn or whatever, they'll go over and do it. Mm-hmm. And they're not asking for payment. They just go out and clean stuff up. And very, very focused on beautifying Bella Vista, because Bella means beautiful, right? And so for the past few years, they have hosted this large cleanup down Highway 71. It's usually called 6 and 60, 6 miles in 60 minutes, but it's very difficult for them to try and do it in that time But the last time they did it, in 2019, I believe they had about 150 volunteers, which is great to see. Unfortunately, because of COVID, they had to cancel it. But Tim, God bless him, he called me up a couple of weeks ago and he said, you know, the mowers have been up and down 71, those are the state mowers, and they don't stop to pick up the garbage, they just chew it up and it's all over the place. I'm going to have just an impromptu on Saturday, and it was last Saturday. I'm going to get some people together, we're going to meet at the museum, and we're going to do it. And I said, great. And he said, can you help us with ARDOT? And I said, yep, don't worry, we'll get that in place. So we talked to ARDOT, and they'll come along after the fact and pick up all the garbage bags and dispose of them. And then Cassie Lapp, our communications director, will usually put something out on the web page so that if people want to participate, they can certainly do so.
Right.
And another project that Tim did with some volunteers within the last couple of months is the bridge that goes over the highway on 340 between Town Center East and Town Center West. The shoulders were just full of broken bits of this, that, and the other thing. So they went out with their warning vests on, and we had a police officer there, and they cleaned it up.
Yeah.
You know, it's just amazing.
Oh, thank you for talking about him because he deserves, they
sure does.
deserve. We have only about a minute left here at most, but I know you wanted to talk about the 2021 trash rates really quickly.
Yeah, so the trash is going to go up by, are you ready for it? 10 cents a month.
Oh, boy.
The increase was going to be a lot higher, 3%, and I decided that there are still people hurting here who are out of a job, and that wasn't fair. So we were able to absorb the difference that Republic needed, and so the increase is going to be $1.20.
Okay.
And that'll go in front of council for approval on Monday.
Okay. Okay, thank you, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
I love talking to you. I get so much going on and it excites me and I'm ready to go do stuff.
Good.
But on final words here, I want everybody to know that this should be common knowledge. I don't know that it is, but you can view via Zoom any of the work sessions and the city council meetings by just registering and going in and listening. It's very enlightening, and you can find out so much instead of actually going by some of the rumors that are out there. Get the facts. Thank you. Thanks again.
Pleasure.
And I'll see you next month.
Great.
Yeah?
Look forward to it.
Take care, Bella Vista.
Bye-bye.